Welcome to session 7. In order to prepare for this training session on teaching writing, please consider and if possible talk about the following questions. What is the purpose of students doing writing in class? And how can the teacher make writing in class more communicative and meaningful?
Every topic of the General English series includes some form of writing activity, which ensures that the learners are given an opportunity to use the grammar structures and vocabulary input that form the linguistic focus of the topic. The topic has a product. Rather than just using the grammar and vocabulary at sentence level, or to complete or paraphrase a model sentence, students have to use their knowledge of the world and English language skills to complete the task. This could include anything from expressing their views or solving a problem to communicating with a friend or writing a report based on research to be used in a discussion. The activities of each topic, particularly the final few activities, are meaningful, and the students are writing for and communicating with an audience, not simply completing a piece of practice work for the teacher to assign a mark to. Some of the writing tasks contribute to class dynamics and help to make the classroom feel that it belongs to the students. The writing can be printed and illustrated to produce wall displays, or compiled to produce an end-of-course magazine as a souvenir and marketing tool to give to students. This, of course, can create extra work for the teacher, but the effort is worthwhile. You will see how the emphasis is on meaningful use of the target language throughout the GES and AES courses. We'll look at a selection of examples in this session. Having a product assumes that someone is going to read and react to what the learners have produced. This has implications for the learning process and stages of GES writing lessons. This is summarized by the acronym WRITE. W, who. Who is the target reader? R, register. This is closely connected to who. Writers should consider whether the writing should be formal, semi-formal, or informal in style. And this, of course, depends on who you are writing to. How would the writing register be different if you were writing to a close friend or your manager at work? I, information. What do you need to tell the reader? What does the reader already know? In a university essay, this means answering the question in a relevant way. To a friend, would you say, "Great, see you at 7"? Or, "I'll meet you at 7 so we can have something to eat before we go to the cinema"? Presumably, your friend already knows the plan for the evening, and your text is only to confirm the arrangement. T, text type. There is a range of writing activities in the GES. The writing students produce needs to look like and contain the features of that type of text. For example, an advertisement looks very different to a job application, and a letter to a friend looks different from slides for a PowerPoint presentation. E, edit. It's necessary to proofread and perhaps even revise the writing before it's ready for the target reader to see. Should the student who wrote a text or a fellow student do the proofreading? What do you think? The WRITE, WRITE approach contains two key aspects of teaching and learning writing which feature in GES and AES. The first is that writing is a process. Hedge describes this process in 3 stages, which are planning, revising, and producing reader-based prose. These stages require brainstorming to generate ideas, drafting and analyzing. In other words, they require critical thinking skills, self-reflection, and knowledge of meta-language. And if this is done in English, the students are learning through using English. Remember the quote from David Little referred to in earlier sessions. Language is the tool by which the learning process is shaped and knowledge and skills are mediated. This is a matter of spoken communication. The second aspect that is essential for effective writing is product approaches. You've seen how grammar and vocabulary are usually presented in the General English series in the context of a reading text. Some of these texts, particularly descriptions, letters and emails, provide a model for the related writing activity in the lesson. This not only includes grammar and lexis, but also coherence and cohesion through analysis of topic sentences, conjunction, pronouns, punctuation and spelling. In addition, collocation and other features provide a framework for introducing the students to different genres. You can see an example from the course here that links reading and writing tasks. Students scan the text and answer questions, then replicate the topic and style of the text in the writing task. As I'm sure you know, writing doesn't take place in isolation. There is reading input and oral activities involved in the planning and editing of the written task. The Imperial English courses take an integrated skills approach, using the topic of the unit to link the elements of the unit together. Imagine you're going to prepare a writing activity. Choose one thing on the slide to focus on and decide what activity you would do. Pause the session and work with a colleague if possible. With regards to marking writing tasks, there are two possibilities in the courses. Short writing tasks like sentence completion or tasks with definitive answer will be marked automatically or in class. The teacher's book will advise you in the assessment section. It may be that the students check each other's work, the teacher is monitoring, or the students will feed back to the teacher and the whole class at the end of the task. For longer writing tasks that involve more student personalization, the teacher will mark these externally, outside of class. The teacher's book has guidance on what to consistently consider when marking. You can see this on the slide. The criteria is a general outline of things to always consider, no matter what the task. But you should also remember to draw on the criteria from the EDA, things like task completion, vocabulary and grammar range, or accuracy and cohesion. In order to be able to do a task like this effectively, the students need to understand the marking criteria. It's also helpful for students to understand and be able to use an error correction code. So let's look at an example of a writing task from the course. This is taken from level 3, intermediate. Students are asked to write a job advertisement and covering letter for a classmate. They share their work with a partner who checks if they met the task requirements. They can use the error correction code and the teacher's mark scheme if they wish in order to fully commit to the evaluation. Many of the writing tasks, particularly towards the end of the topic, involve peer evaluation and feedback. While the teacher will mark the longer writing tasks externally, the student is encouraged to feel part of the process and receive feedback and make corrections before submitting a task. The following extracts on the slide, based on up-to-date research, set out the approach the General English series takes towards writing and ensuring the learners have created a product, which they can self-evaluate in terms of the can-do statements at the end of each unit. Imagine a new student is joining your class. You've never met them before, but you have been given some of their example writing. Look at their writing on the slide and think about what you would focus on to improve their writing and how you would plan a 60-minute lesson on this. Work with a colleague if possible.
These are the hashtag words to take from this session. Write a short summary of the session using the hashtag words and examples where possible.